Hey there, Dream Chasers. This is Hannah Pryde, and welcome to Pryde Shine, the podcast where we explore the innovators and influencers of Dubai. Proudly sponsored by Pryde Migration, your dedicated partner to make Dubai your reality. Welcome to the podcast, Amy Morris. So for people that don't know, founder and CEO of Pop-Up Global and Events Collective Creative.
Creative Events Collective. It is a mouthful. It is a mouthful.
Honestly, we're all going to have a laugh now at how often I get these words middled up. Like, it's actually embarrassing.
We call it CEC though, if that makes it any easier for you. We just call it CEC.
We're just...
Creative Events Collective, CEC.
I mean, still a blah, blah, blah. So tell us about your story. You just moved recently to Dubai, all the way from the UK, and you first started off in what's the word when you impersonate Elsa from Frozen?
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic job.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
So, theatre, performance, singing, dancing has been my whole life since I was 3 years old. That's all I ever did. I went and worked on board cruise ships as a singer-dancer. And then when I left there at 25, I was jobless, and the film Frozen had just come out, and people were like, you look like that princess from that film. So I just bought the dress. I had really blonde hair at the time, put the plait in, and did an event for somebody else at the time. And I got mobbed. It was literally like being Harry Styles in a crowd.
No way.
Yeah, I got mobbed.
Was it in like a city centre?
It was in Preston city centre. Yeah.
With little girls?
Yeah, children, and they just would not leave me alone. And I thought, there's something in this.
Yeah.
So I just set up a Facebook page back when Facebook was a thing, and it was called Pop-Up Princesses. And I just went to children's birthday parties impersonating this princess, and it just blew up. Massive.
Wow. I hadn't really heard. You know, I only heard of one girl that done it on TikTok probably during COVID times.
Yeah.
And I feel like then more and more people, I feel like birthday parties over the last 10 years have become much more creative and a thing.
When I set up the business, nobody else was doing it. So that was another thing. There was timing as well, because it was like the first of its kind. Yeah. But it was really, really good, because all the people that I brought in to help me were performers, so they could actually sing. So it wasn't someone's cousin that they'd roped in that couldn't sing. Yeah. Everybody that worked with me at the time were performers, and we didn't use any wigs, so everybody had to have their own hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the children were fully invested. They really believed it.
And did you put together a story, I guess, for each actor, I guessing, around the character in the film to do it the like children's party?
Yeah, you could book a different package, like an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, depending on budget and the length of the party. So there were structures. The children learned how to be a princess at the end, and they all got a magic wish, and it was amazing. But that was the catalyst there that kind of then boomed the rest of the business.
You've gone on to build absolutely crazy stuff, and things that people are always like, oh, that's a great idea, like your Santa's grottos and everything, but everyone goes to them, like the queues around, and how immersive they are now with the little elves and everything else. I remember when I went, it was the fakest Santa. I'd be like, Mum, this isn't real. Let me pull his wig.
It was just in a garden centre with a guy in a string. But I think it was 10 years ago, it was 2014, so nearly 11 years ago. It was the start of a quality product for children, whether it was birthday parties, shows, or whatever. So I feel like the timing was a huge thing.
And you know, I think more people now say than ever in business, that's where your fast decisions have to come into play. You thought on your feet and you've seen a gap in the market.
And I also had to face people taking the piss out of me. I was 25, I'd just finished on a cruise ship, and I was wearing an Elsa dress and a clip-in plait, and all my friends were going to like be solicitors and accountants, and I was like, well, I play Elsa at the weekends. I'm in people's living rooms playing pass the parcel with these kids. But I knew from like I started in October, and I knew by Christmas I was onto something. I was fully booked. We ended up with 25,000 followers on Facebook.
Wow.
We were in OK Magazine, Hello Magazine. We were on what are they called? Sam and Billy Fair's TV programme. Yeah, it
really blew up.
Yeah.
Really, really blew up. So when people always say, we were speaking about it before, people are always scared that they get laughed at whenever they do their first YouTube, their first social media. People that are now major influencers, they got laughed at. Yeah. You obviously you're saying you did get laughed at.
Ridiculed. And in fact, I just did a post about it yesterday. I've been ridiculed at every stage, because then I was this princess party company, but I was like, we're going to go on cruise ships. And everyone thought, she's got her head in the clouds.
Yeah.
But I just, at every stage that my businesses have grown, it's not even a paranoia of, oh, I wonder if people actually said to me, like, what are you talking about? You do princess parties for children.
Yeah.
So you have got to just drown that out. And if I'd have let that in, and sometimes I did let that in. Like I said, a lot of my friends were super academic and they were doing amazing things. And a lot of my performer friends were in the West End. They were on these massive cruise ships and I was
But then
doing parties.
There's a good catalyst there, because yes, everyone's dream is to be on the West End, but then you have to fundamentally decide, do you want to be rich or do you want to be famous?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be rich on the West End.
No, you're not.
But you are going to be famous for being someone else that isn't you.
Yeah.
Whereas you've obviously taken the path that you want to be known, but you're actually building a wealth because you've taken the business aspect of it and been able to grow it in
and I
so
saw
many
that
ways.
really early on.
Yeah.
Which, it was such a small company, but I could see the growth. And then we only did parties for maybe 2 years, and the Trafford Centre approached me and said, we want you to put on an event in the Trafford Centre. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I was like, shit.
You don't know how to do
I've actually
that.
got to put an event on. And it was big. There was like a cast of 25 performers.
Wow.
But it was this Prince and Princess theme. So, but it wasn't Disney.
Okay.
Because by this point, I had received a cease and desist by Disney.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you even deal with that? And why? How did they contact you? Was that just because of how fast your business grew?
And we were in the media. And we had a lot of followers. Instagram wasn't really a massive thing at the time. It was Facebook. And I just got this letter in the post, and it was actual Disney. Like, they have a department in Disney that are just there to take down anybody that is impersonating anybody of part of their brand.
Yeah, I've heard
Cake
this.
companies, card, anything like that, they will take you down. And I hadn't even thought about it. I was just like, I'm rolling with this. We had Belle, we had Elsa, we had all of them. And then I got this cease and desist, and they were like, you must stop doing this now.
Is there not even an option that they would maybe buy your...
No,
nothing.
You can't even get a license. So for other brands, other IPs, you can buy the license. So say you wanted to put on a Peppa Pig show, you can buy the license. You can't with Disney. They own everything.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And it's for quality control, because even though I personally think I was a fantastic Elsa, it wasn't ticking all of their quality boxes.
Yeah.
So, and I get it could be damaging from the brand.
Of course, when you see how many people, I was just in Florida, and I must say, they'll always say, especially over Christmas, that Magic Kingdom's full, and it's not full, but when I tell you get there, and there must be hundreds of thousands of people, and I'm not even over-exaggerating, hundreds of thousands of people, and I'm like, how the hell did they get all these people in? And you think everyone's probably paying minimum $200.
But it's because you can't go anywhere else for it.
Exactly, and that's what I was about to say. They're very good at what they do, because you obviously opened up their engagement to maybe people that can afford it or don't want to go to Disney or can't go to Paris. But obviously them cutting it all out, it diverts them all back to Disney World. And it's wild.
Yeah, and I did understand it, but at the time, like, I panicked because I'd built up a life. I had a member of staff. I had a full business. So I think me having worked on cruise ships and done the singer-dancer in show team, it was easy for me to pivot, because I thought I know how to put shows together that don't have to be an IP show. So within about 3 months, we turned it around and we started doing just generic children's entertainment. And that's how we started, with children's entertainment at different venues. I was working at like farms.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just like a cast of 5 at a farm in Yorkshire. And then again that snowballed, and Trafford Centre reached out. We put on this generic Prince and Princesses show, and from that point on, people started to be like, oh, pop-up can do other things that aren't just, and we kind of stayed away from children's birthday parties.
Do you know, I always think out of every like, you must have to yourself, especially seeing Disney, being like,
I literally just sent a print screen of my bank account and I was like, I have nothing. I am nothing to you. So unless you want the clothes off my back, there is nothing that you'll benefit. And they left me alone then. Because I didn't have I wasn't making millions out of doing it. If they were, then if I was, they would have taken all of my money. But I was just doing children's birthday parties. So.
But do you know what? It's probably good, because you'd have probably, if that hadn't happened, you'd probably still been doing children's birthday parties and just redoing. And
we wouldn't have grown to where
100%.
we are. And now, and we always say that, because Laura, who was with me at the time, still works for me now. Every time shit hits the fan, we're always like, it's because something's going to happen. We're going to pivot somewhere else. COVID,
100%.
prime example. We grew so much in COVID.
What did you do through COVID?
So we just, before COVID hit, won our first cruise ship contract.
Actually, rewind. How did you get into cruises? Because you said you were going to go into cruises. So did you use your contacts to get into the cruise ships?
So somebody that I knew that the cruise line I used to work on as a singer-dancer was going out to tender.
Right.
And I just thought, we have nothing to lose here. We're so creative, our standards are so high, even, you know, with minimal experience at the time. And we just put this amazing pitch together, and we kept getting down to like the final 10, the final 5, the final 3. And at the end of 2019, December 2019, the lady that we'd been pitching to this whole time rang me up and said, "You've won it."
Wow, and what was the idea?
What do you mean?
Like, what were you doing on the cruise ship?
So we still have that contract now. It's onboard production shows. So if you're going on a cruise, you can, after dinner, go watch a 45-minute production show in the theatre, and it will be delivered by pop-up.
Unreal. Yeah. So then you got that, and congratulations. That's
Thank
a huge deal, especially with how popular cruises are. They're super popular. Then COVID happened.
And then COVID happened. So we were supposed to go live with that in spring of 2020. And I was actually on holiday in the Caribbean, about to go get on board that ship to do like a bit of a recce before we... And it hit when I was on holiday, and I rang up the lady, and she was like, "You've got to go home, you've got to go back to the UK, we're shutting down the ship, you're not going to be able to go on." But what we did was, in that time, we did loads of lives on Facebook.
That's how most people
for children. So we kind of brought back the children's party content. Every single day, a different performer that had worked for me over the years went live for an hour or 45 minutes doing singing, doing dancing, whatever. And we honestly just blew up. And then we got noticed by a few different people because of the lives and invited to do these socially distanced events.
Crazy.
And I don't know if you ever saw this, but there's one called Park and Party. And it was this massive car park. They built a huge stage. Everybody had to sit in their car. And we were the first company in the UK to go back after COVID with live entertainment. I mean, it was a nightmare because everyone had to get COVID tested. They had to be in a little, what were they called?
That was such a random
bubble.
Bubble.
They all had to be in these bubbles. But it was the most emotional thing. And anyone that worked for the NHS got to come for free.
Oh, lovely.
But everyone had to sit in their car and watch it. And on the back of that, a lady called Robin Isherwood, who's now my business partner for Creative Events Collective, she put on the world's first socially distanced festival, and all the top DJs from Ibiza that had no work came to Gisborne in the north of England to do this festival, and everyone had to sit in these hexagons.
I remember seeing videos of this,
and we did all the family entertainment for that. So we actually grew loads in that time, and by the end of 2020 we'd won a second cruise ship with the same cruise line.
And out of all this, you've obviously gone through some major mental challenges. What have you done to manage your mental health to be like, it's going to be all right? Because being a woman in business and getting nearly sued by Disney, a major crisis coming, being like, what the hell do we do here? You've obviously had some beatings internally. What have you done?
And I feel like, full transparency, you do have a mini meltdown at first.
Yeah, you do.
You don't hold it all together and decide what you're going to do immediately. And I have to say, this is something I've got better at. And I've been doing this 10 years. We're talking 5 years ago now in COVID. The catastrophizing at the time was still very real. But what I think I have always been good at, but I've got a lot better at, is making really fast decisions and taking risks.
And that's the two key points about any business person. Because I always say an idea is a great idea, but it'll always be an idea if it's not actioned. And I think so many people like yourself, you could have been like, oh, we'll maybe go live this week. Oh, wait, shall we go live? Someone else would have done it.
And that's the thing. And I don't know if it's like a competitive streak in me, but I always think, I've got an idea. I need to do that today. Because someone else is going to have that idea.
100%.
And I need to do it first.
And I always say, like, try it. If it doesn't work, fuck it. It's failed. Like, who cares? Like, you can just restart it from the start. And I think for anyone in business, they really need to think about that, because at the end of the day, there's just so many social media platforms and so many ways to gather new information that can be easily thought of by someone else now and put out there to the thousands, not even just like a small production, to the thousands, that then you can look like you're copying someone. Which is wild. Feel like
you, and I think because I'd grown a thick skin from all the Elsa days, I'm not that arsed now what people think about me, and I've got so much better at that.
And that's what you have to be, especially being an entrepreneur, especially being a woman entrepreneur, because it can take a lot of backlash, a lot of people not believing in you. And do you know the thing is, I personally think women are really good leaders because they're very good at communication.
Yeah.
Men are usually really good at getting the job done.
Yeah.
So I always think in any business scenario, the more that women and men can come together
Agreed.
or put them at both different angles, unreal. But women are actually very good at getting listened to.
Yeah.
Whereas men
doesn't
can
necessarily happen though, does it, in where the men and women come together? Especially not in the entertainment industry, let me tell you.
Not at all. So then what's brought you over to Dubai? Because obviously you moved to Dubai, 6 months ago now? And
18 months ago.
18 months ago, sorry. 18 months ago. And what brought you here originally? What was the driving force?
So, post-COVID, everybody at Pop-Up went hard on LinkedIn.
Right.
And that's my number one, into the camera, that's my number one business tip. Be on LinkedIn.
Everyone says that, and I'm rubbish on LinkedIn.
That has grown my business more than anything else that I could
Really?
think. Yeah.
And everyone says that. Do you storytell on it by any chance?
Do I what?
Like, tell a story on it?
About
about your business, about you.
I speak about everything.
Every day.
On there. To the point where I do get trolled a little bit by people that are like, who does she think she is? She treats LinkedIn like Facebook. She's always posting a live on there. But I'm like, but that's what people want to see. If people want to trust me, I want them to know how I spend my mornings, what I do at my weekends, how much I love my dogs. Everything, yeah. I share
really
everything.
need to get onto it because I'm not on it at all.
Yeah.
I think we put, like, someone will post a random podcast they've been on and maybe like a review,
No.
but I've not been on it in
my
years.
business, it's mandatory. Every day, if you work for Pop-Up, you post by 9 a.m. on LinkedIn.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's just because you think
Because then you've got
everyone's
all day then for it to build traction.
Maybe I'll take that from you. So you grew on LinkedIn, and then what happened?
Yeah, so that was 2021. We built on LinkedIn, and me and Laura, who's our business development director, both of us messaged the same person from Majid Al Fatame, who was the director of entertainment.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, let's have a meeting. And they were looking for us to design a new entertainment programme, and we won it.
Wow.
So we came over in 2022, and we pitched to them. They loved it, and so we kind of moved our whole business out here in 2023. Yeah.
And how did you find the move of business? Because this is everyone's dreaded question. Like, how did you find it? Because everyone's story is very different.
I was naive.
Most people are.
I went in blind, and I thought, you know what? We've built up such a good rep now in the UK. Why won't we just clean up in Dubai?
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
And what I've learned, two things that I think are difficult in working out here versus the UK. And bearing in mind my businesses still work in the UK, so every day I've got direct comparison. It's not like I forgot. The two things are, relationships out here are more important than anything else, sometimes more important than quality.
100%.
Where in the UK, if you're not doing a good job, you're out. And it goes out to 10 and you get a new supplier. Out here, oh, but we're really good mates with him, and we've known him a really long time, or she's really, and so we're just going to stick with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but
it's crazy, and that's why I say to everyone coming to Dubai, your brand and your reputation should be the key components.
100%.
Everyone can fuck up,
Yeah.
everyone can do a shit job, but if you've got a good reputation or a good brand and you correct it, people will always give you a second chance. And I think it's just the way Dubai's built. Dubai's always been built on that.
It's great on the flip side, because now I've developed relationships that I know are solid, and so our business is safe.
Yeah.
But then trying to get in with key people
It's hard.
It's hard because they really value these relationships.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is being paid on time.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. That doesn't happen out here, does it, being paid on time?
No, it should get better.
And you can go through every single process, and you can even 3 days before say, we're due to be paid on Mondays, everything's set up. Yeah, you'll get paid on Monday. Monday comes, your bank details weren't on, and it could take so much longer.
Yeah.
So being so good with cash
was key over here.
is like the most
And do you know the
important.
thing is, people forget over here cash is king.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the UK, obviously, can take out loans, bursaries, there's a lot more payment terms, payment plans, but because traditionally Dubai, you do not take loans.
Yeah.
Everything's paid up front in cash.
Yeah.
There obviously, mortgages in Dubai only came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, these are all very new, that I think when people come to do business in Dubai, let's per se, and they think, oh, it'll be fine, we'll get a loan, we'll do this, we'll do it. It's very hard. And I think people also forget that everything's kind of 100% cash up front or 100% XYZ. Then when you start doing long-term work with them, then they want half payments, and it is cash flow.
Yeah.
And everyone's hardest part for doing business over here is cash flow and time scales.
Yeah.
Because I always say, I now tell people, I know things will take a week. And I usually do know it takes weeks, but I'll still tell people a month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd rather over promise and I'd rather
under promise and over deliver.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Than say it'll be done in a week and it takes a month because something's gone wrong.
I've never known time scales like it out here.
It's crazy. It will change because now we're getting corporation tax. Yeah, because last year we got corporation tax, and the corporation tax now there's obviously like a tax date. You need to put your accountants in. I came here 5 years ago. There was none of that. Yeah, there was absolutely. It doesn't matter who has bank statements.
It's more just the many layers of people that you have to go through to get anything signed off, and I don't know where that comes from. I don't know whether it's a company culture. Maybe no one wants to take direct responsibility, so I say yes, but go ask this person, but for our job, and me and Laura, who works with me, was just saying this the other day, our end client is an audience. So there's no, can you come back in a couple of days because we're not ready. It's going live on this certain day, and that's that. But if key people haven't signed off on certain things prior to that, we're left putting a show together in like 72 hours.
And it's crazy.
And
they expect you to do it.
Oh, yeah, because other people do it all the time. But what is frustrating is, if you just gave me 3 months, we would blow you away.
Yeah.
But you're giving me 3 days, so we're doing the best we can with the time frame that you're giving us.
It's crazy, isn't it? But then do you know what everyone says in Dubai's a snowballing effect.
Yeah.
And I say it to everyone, you come to Dubai and you have to leave your egos at the door.
100%.
Because a lot of people come here and think, as you said, it's going to be the exact same as the UK, and it's a complete different market, it's a complete different culture, and it's a complete different way of doing business. There's not much emailing, it's all WhatsApp, it's all instant, it's all calls. Like
sending contracts over and NDAs on WhatsApp. This is so...
It's mad, but then I now say to people that I'm dealing with in the UK, if I'm helping them move here, like, PS, we don't use email, we use WhatsApp, because it's trying to then configure.
Fast.
Yeah, it's faster, but then trying to configure something from WhatsApp to email to you lose track. So I'm like, by the way, we're going to do all business on WhatsApp. WhatsApp, be prepared. But that's one thing I do say, and then I also say to people, it's a snowball effect. Your first year will be fucking hell, and you just have to bear with it, from your setup costs, from all your upfront payments, whether it be visas, there's a lot, and people don't actually think about it, and that's one thing I actually do now for any client moving across, is I outline them, because I'm like, I don't want to put you in the shit, which I think happens to a lot of people when they move here,
and come out with realistic expectations, because I was like, I've been doing this 10 years, this is going to be easy. It's not.
Got to be at the beach clubs.
And it was literally like starting from scratch. And also I think in what we really found was, not many people do what we do. So there's a lot of agencies where you could call them up and say, we need 3 stilt walkers, a saxophonist and a singer for an event. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't have a roster of talent. We would be the person that you would come to. They're like, okay, we need a musical theatre style production show, 45 minutes, cast of 20 singer dancers. We need a costume, we need costume design, we need sound, we need light, we need the whole... We would pull that together.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think it's funny because I think in Dubai you'll very rarely find everything that's in-house.
Yeah.
Everyone in Dubai actually works on collaboration, and everyone in Dubai kind of works from an agency.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for someone like yourself that's maybe coming into this industry, and you're like, oh, we have to get all these sign-offs. The reason everyone has sign-offs is because even your big businesses here, they'll use X for this, X for that, X for that, and it needs to get signed off of everyone, because it is so hard to find something that has, or any business that has everyone in-house.
But the key is to make best friends with procurement. Take them out for dinner. Do whatever you need to do, because once you've got procurement on side, everything's so much smoother.
They just all... Well, do you know, that's the thing, going back to relationships in Dubai, if you can become friends with anyone that's going to help, whether that be, I don't know, real estate brokers, if you want a good rate or the best deals on the market, whether you want procurement, whether you want the best sales, whether you want into certain areas in Dubai to do events, you need to have those people on side.
And what I will say is, one of the really positive things about moving out here is everybody wants to help you.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, it's not like that.
Is it not?
No. No. I've posted about this on LinkedIn. Crab mentality. So you put crabs in a bucket, and when the crabs almost get to the top, the other crabs drag it back down to the bottom of the bucket. And that's sometimes how I feel in the UK. If someone's doing well, and this isn't like your close friends, it's just like the general reception.
Yeah.
People don't like it. People don't like to see other people doing really well. In Dubai, people love it.
Yeah.
They love watching your journey. They're really interested. Like, oh, I know somebody that could help you do this. And there's a lot of that out here.
It's winner's mentality over here. And I think the thing is, everyone in Dubai realises there's enough for everyone. And the more you share, the faster you grow and the faster you can grow together.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're so putting on so much energy and someone else failing or someone else not getting what you want, you end up going nowhere and you end up wasting 6 months ruining somewhere else.
100%.
Whereas I think loads of people I've interviewed and loads of people I do business with, they're so eager, like what you said, to help each other. Because at the end of the day, we'd rather be winners together than losers at the bottom together, because then you're both unhappy.
And you never know as well who you're going to meet and how they're going to help you. It could be someone that's so unrelated to your industry that just knows someone that knows someone that could change everything.
And how have you been positioning yourself now, being in Dubai? Have you had to then manipulate maybe some of your productions because of the culture differences within the UAE?
Not in Dubai, no. It's quite open. It's very... Although Christmas is a bit of a grey area, because we can't really say Christmas. We can't say Father Christmas, we have to say Santa. So there's been a few adaptations in that sense. But when we explore like the Saudi market or even Abu Dhabi, it's a little bit more adapted to what we would normally deliver.
Okay, that's interesting. And then how would you then, I guess you've started in Dubai, now you're speaking about Saudi and Abu Dhabi, is your plan to flow into all these areas?
Global. Yeah. We
100%.
this Christmas we just delivered in Cairo, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, the Maldives, and then in various different locations around the UK.
Well, what is your global? Indeed, I was more thinking just UAE and Dubai and UK, because most people say global, that's the two areas. I didn't realise it was on that scale. So how, as a business owner, do you communicate and operate and deliver all these different shows?
Well, let's put it this way, Q4 nearly killed me.
Gorgeous.
Honestly, there were so many moments I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old. It's hard. And even 10 years in, every year we're learning. So then in January we sit down and we're like, right, what didn't work in that period of time, and what can we do to move forwards? We have really amazing, loyal performers that have worked with us for years. So when we have so many different productions all happening at the same time, we then promote them to company manager. So we have people that are really invested in us managing these different projects around the world. That's how we scale.
And are you sourcing most of your talent from the UK or are they globally?
At the moment, yes.
UK-wise.
And a lot of that is on the request of the clients out here, actually. They want us to bring the UK talent over. And this is, I mean, I could speak for 3 hours about this. This is the conundrum, I would say, that we're in. Dubai isn't on the map yet for unbelievable entertainment. If you have studied 3 years at Lane or somewhere at a really good school in London, your first port of call wouldn't be Dubai. It would be the West End, Broadway, cruise ships, licensed shows, exactly. And so people only want to come over here to do our job for 6 weeks and then go back. However, we're really getting there, and a lot of the shows are improving in quality, and I think eventually, give it another 5-10 years, people will graduate and move to Dubai to do it.
I think be even less than 5 to 10 years. I think with all the money that's getting pumped into it now, especially with Saudi, it's like, it's huge, and I can't get over it. I've been to New York, I've been to London, I've seen all the shows, and I actually personally think now, and I'm obviously not from that industry, but this is just my opinion, so it's my opinion, don't no one get me in trouble, but the amount of shows and the scale of shows in Dubai are phenomenal. You maybe go to one
budgets and the vision,
and they're on all the time. They're never short of like a performer, a backup dancer, a theatrical performance, a dinner show. There is so much. And I think just because we're so used to it now, we've like got used to Dubai living. When I go on holiday to America, I'm like, this is nothing. So it's funny hearing it from your side, being like, oh my God, because I would think it's complete opposite, because now some of the theatrical that goes on over here, I'm like, Wow.
But a lot of them, I mean, we've got a really good pool of talent in Dubai, but a lot of the talent is brought in. Because as well, from a cultural point of view, people weren't doing dancing from 3 years old in Dubai. It's not part, but now it is. So the kids that are in school now are doing performing arts, dancing, singing from young age. Obviously in the UK, we get put in baby ballet at 2. Whether you want to or not, you're going.
Everyone's going.
Yeah, so it's just so part of the culture there. And then children, you know, develop that skill and maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 think, actually, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened to me. I was never academic. I worked hard, but then it was never naturally academic. Singing and dancing was all I did. I was in every school show. I was in the choir. I used to travel with the choir. I used to do all of those things. Once that is established here, and it is now, those children will grow up.
It's going to be huge here with all the school development, and there's so many now. I see I live in Dubai Hills, and there's a theatre opening, all these different musical and whatnot. I think I might have been the only child in the UK that didn't go to ballet.
Oh really?
My mum and dad you're far too heavy feet. You know, my sisters went ballet.
You do football.
Yeah. So everyone's like ballet. I'm like, I never got to try that. I think my big sister actually got thrown out the ballet class. Not gonna lie, my mum was too embarrassed. She waited for my little sister to come back and be like, we can go back to that. So funny. Okay. But how do you also then, having obviously UAE, but you said Cairo, etc., are you then sending your staff or your teams over for 6 weeks to do the full production?
So that one was just a 3-day event.
Right, okay.
But Dan, who works with me, who is our head of operations, he went from Dubai to Abu Dhabi to Cairo, back to Dubai, to the Maldives, then flew to Rio de Janeiro, and then did all of South America on the ship, setting up 4 shows, and he just today is flying back to the UK. And that's just all since between Christmas and today.
That's crazy. And who comes up with all the choreography and everything else? So
we have a few different choreographers that work with us. It's all dependent on the style of the show. We have some that are much better for the cruise ships, we have some much better for the one-off events. So it all depends. We've got a really good pool of talent.
Of course.
And then in terms of the actual creative, sometimes it's the client. So they say this is the vision,
right,
make that work. Or they might say, we want to do a show, but we've got absolutely no idea, in which case we take on the creative.
And you've worked with some huge brands, wildly big brands. When it comes to, let's say, your airlines or your makeup people, how do they incorporate for an airline getting your performers in, or how do you incorporate getting your performers in, let's say, for a makeup brand? How do you do them for each event?
So this is a conversation that we have a lot. I don't think people understand the impact of live entertainment. Nothing, and I stand by this, AI is not going to replace the feeling of live entertainment. So if you're watching a show and they're all dancing and they're all singing, there's something that moves you as an audience member that you can't get anywhere else. And that emotion that you feel, say it was an operatic song or this amazing dance number, they were all epic dancers, that creates an emotion, that creates a memory of that time, that makes you either link it with the brand, link it with the venue, tell everybody about it and want to go back time and time again. And so a lot of brands are catching on to that. So for example, Qatar Airways, when they were launching a new route, they put on a huge event with a big show. So then you're associating that moment with that airline.
100%. And it's something it's quite curious then, because obviously now within this century everyone's complaining about loneliness and not feeling a part of something, a community. Do you think now more and more brands are using Pop-Up Global to really feel connected to their audience again? Because I feel like now everyone wants to be a part of a community, everyone wants to be part of something. Everyone wants to feel something. Now our attention span, the most valuable thing you can get is someone's attention. TikTok, you're like, something's longer than 30 seconds. I'm not watching that. And I am doing the entertainment, and it is, if you can capture people's attention. But we were talking about this, me and my husband, the other day. Remember Reese, the clothing brand? Do you remember when the Looking for a Man in Finance song came out? And they got models and dancers to do that routine to that song. Reese and entertainment have no business being together. But they brought it together to bring brand awareness. And I guess, going back to TikTok then, that really came from TikTok, and we actually used that at Strada for one of our real estate projects that we were selling. Do you think TikTok has really elevated what you can provide to brands then? Because now TikTok, I guess when it started, it was all singing, all dancing, then it kind of went to I don't know, random videos, and now it's kind of going back to all the singing, all dancing, theatrical. Do you think that's why
TikTok did was open up the eyes of so many to what is around the world.
Yeah.
So now everybody wants more. You can't just have what you could have on a cruise ship 20 years ago, which is some feathers and some... You can't, because everyone's expectations are so much higher. So social media, TikTok, Instagram, has just made, for example, Saudi. Prior to it being open now, people still saw Beyonce at the Super Bowl, and they saw all those things. So the appetite was there, and now it's up to the likes of Pop-Up to feed that appetite.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, TikTok now, I don't know if it's ruined our creativity or added to it, because we actually see anything and everything we want to see, which is wild.
And I'm obsessed with TikTok.
So am I. I actually get slagged. I'm fully addicted. I'm like, ooh, a hole. And I won't even know this person.
Like 2 hours.
No, genuinely. And then I feel like I'm friends with that person. And I'm like, I know everything about them. What a great story they have. How have you used TikTok? I guess because it would be a great platform for me. And I'm not really a TikToker, but I'm guessing for you, especially when TikTok first came and you're doing your lives, how did you use it to really create
our
and elevate?
social media, our goal with that actually isn't for clients, it's to create a community online for performers. So our mission, I guess, is to be the company that performers want to work for and clients want to work with. And so LinkedIn is where we post to our clients.
And do you think your mission connects with your rooted why? Because you must have a why to bring all these people together. And I feel like everything you've said over this past 30 minutes is basically to make people feel better.
Yeah.
Like, everything's about bringing people together, making people feel better, making it a fun community. Do you think it correlates with your maybe deeper why?
I think so. And I think something that we didn't touch on at the start is when I did work on cruise ships as a singer-dancer, I actually had a terrible experience.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the industry's brutal. There's still cruise lines now that weigh performers every Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Because it is something that's really a huge thing, whether you're a model, whether you're an actor or performer, is about body image and how you look. And again, that goes back to me when I said at the start, your mental being. Like, you've obviously got a very strong mental capacity to take on all these throwbacks and big business decisions that you had completely out of your control, and be like, do you know what, we'll grow from it. Do you think that then stems back to
probably
you being in your...
I just think the culture we've created at Pop-Up definitely stems from my experiences when I worked on board cruise ships. And it wasn't, you couldn't pinpoint a specific moment. It was just how I felt as a performer. I was part of a cog as this money-making machine. And I never want anyone that works for me to feel that way. I'm a bit ill now, you can probably hear it. But if I was ill on board a cruise ship, the anxiety I would have, because if I'm not able to do my job, it's not like, all right, listen, let's see how you feel in a couple of days. It's, well, we need you back on stage. When do you think you're going to feel better? I'm going to have to tell head office about that you're not very well. And I was 21 years old.
Wow.
I was working on a cruise ship. Of course I'm going to get poorly. And it was just moments like that where I was made to feel so indisposable.
Yeah.
Because I was poorly.
It's crazy, isn't it? And I think that's one thing now, when your whole business revolves around you and you're very much the face of your business. Although you've got a team, it's all came from you. That pressure can really delve down on you. And I think it does go back to like your inner child or something that happened to you when you were younger, that you're like, I don't want that to happen.
And it's definitely that. And don't get me wrong, we still do get feedback. In November and December, I think we worked with maybe 450 performers.
Wow.
We're always going to get feedback on, I didn't enjoy this and I didn't like that, but we take it so seriously.
Of course.
Because of those experiences.
How do you think you then form a strong company culture, especially having all these global events and trying to keep it as a community at whole, or heart, shall we say, but you have 450 people. What have you taken as a manager to really roll it out?
So we have something called the Happiness Programme. All performers have access to that, and that can range from, so we have our show teams that live with us for 8 weeks in the rehearsal process, so they might get weekly massages, yoga, cinema nights, where we really give them something to look forward to at the end of a really intense rehearsal period. That's unheard of in our industry. It's very much like, you get on with it, that's your job, where we really understand that it is your job. It's really fucking hard as well. You're singing and dancing 9-10 hours all day. We also have an anonymous and free therapist that is open to anybody that works for Pop-Up. all that happens is I get an invoice, I have no idea who's used it, or so we do that again, really. And it sounds really basic when I'm saying it, but actually it's unheard of in our industry.
It's super unheard of. Do you know what? I think it's even been unheard of in Dubai. I think it was very American way, and I think it personally stemmed from Google. They were very at the front of it, leading the way. Yeah, and do you know an interesting fact about Google? I actually spoke about it on another podcast. Is they have one of the highest turnovers, that their staff usually stay a year with them, and they've got all these like mental being, wellness, sleeping pods, blah blah blah. And you think now people are really focusing it in any business, and I personally think that's why Dubai set up businesses very much on collaboration, because then you don't have to think of anyone else. Then it's just you focus on you, we'll work together, anything goes wrong, see ya. And I think that's just why it's all in collaboration and relationships and STEM, because it's not in the UK. You're always taught you have to look after a sense in business, because there was a minimum wage, because there was XYZ protocol that you had to live up to. In Dubai, that's never been here before. It's now coming into play and you have it, but obviously now I can see a lot more people like yourself that are integrating this wellness being. And
it's not out of anything other than genuine. I don't want anybody working with my company and be like, oh, that was awful. I want people to thrive working for 100%. Me. And we have had performers that genuinely have worked with us for the past 8 years. They come back time and time and time again. And my core staff that run the company with me, I look after them like they are my actual children. I really look after them.
But you know, I think that's what anyone does. I think when it's your business and it's your baby, you really want to help people that helped you. And through all those hard times, you said that lady had worked for you for 10 years. You'll obviously now treasure her probably more so than she could ever imagine, because she helped you when you didn't even realise. And what would you then say for any business owner that's kind of going through a rough period within their business, or trying to move abroad, or getting that global exposure? What would you say to them as a bit of advice when growing a strong team?
I just think being really transparent. I'm really transparent with all of my staff on the vision, how we're going to get there, but also how I'm feeling as well. I think a lot of CEOs have a tendency to put on a brave face, and there is some of that. You can't be like, guys, it's falling to shit, what we're going to do, because they're all going to lose the jobs. But I think nobody at Pop-Up says, oh, I work for Amy. They say I work with Amy. And I couldn't do it without any of those people. And I also think be smart about who you bring in. And again, leave your ego at the door, because if I brought in people that were at my level, we wouldn't get anywhere. They have to be better than me at so many different things.
And do you know what? I think that is the strongest thing most entrepreneurs can say, is always hire bigger and better. And I think anyone that you meet that's a multi-millionaire, billionaire, they always step down from being CEO and had someone bigger 100%. In place. But what did you then do to take away the ego-ness? Because you would have had an ego at some point.
Yeah, maybe at the beginning it's mine. But then when I saw what the others could bring to the table, like Laura, who does the sales, she's scrappy. There's no one getting away from her, but she does it so much better than me. And Dan, the way he is so organised and can have a million tabs open in his mind, and I can't work like that. I've got ADHD.
Same. I think everyone on this podcast has some form of spectrum.
It's a superpower, because I think that's what makes you make really quick decisions. But in terms of like, I've got loads to do, I'm overwhelmed, I'm paralysed, I can't do any of it. Whereas Dan's able to just
get on with it.
I couldn't do his job. I could not do his job. And then I've got Shelley, who's in charge of casting and our happiness programme. The patience of that girl. When we've got 450 people, let's just say 10% have a problem. They all go to Shelley.
Still 45 people.
And she doesn't lose her with them. She is calm, and she appreciates that to them, this is important. And so they all have skills that I don't have.
And how fast did you actually grow your team? Because you seem like you've got core staff members,
core staff,
and you very much understand their personality. And I personally think when hiring people, don't hire off a CV or a skill set, hire off someone that
all ex-performers.
Really?
All of them. Not one of us has a business
side. But then look, your personalities all really complement each other. And I think if you can hire someone motivated and eager to learn that complements your personality, you're on a road for a winner.
100%.
If you paralyzed, if you hire someone that's fantastic on a CV, but you get on their last nerve, you're going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big fundamental that a lot of people kind of forget about. They're too busy looking at, did they get straight A's, did they get this, did they get that?
I don't think I've asked any of them. I don't think they have CVs. They all worked on cruise ships as singer-dancers. Dan, that works with me, I met on my first ship. He was my boss.
Really?
Yeah. So
amazing.
None of us have anything on our CV other than singing and dancing on cruise ships. But we have learned so many skills along the way.
That's part of being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're a bloody marketeer.
And they are all like little mini entrepreneurs within the company, within their division.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say as we grow that I can always just hire singer-dancers. My finance company that I use, they're not singer-dancers, obviously. But they have the mindset, they understand, they're creative, and they're willing to learn. And if you think as a singer-dancer, you've got to learn a million routines in your career, you can learn a new skill on spreadsheets or whatever 100%. It is that it is.
And that's something I've always taken my hat off. Like, how do all these singers, actors, performers learn all these new words? I can't even bloody do a
second nature,
fit.
you know.
Really?
I remember when I was on ships and I had 11 shows and each one's 45 minutes and in each show there's like 10 routines. By mid-contract, I'm doing the show out to the audience, but I'm thinking, I'm going to have a wine at Crew Bar tonight. I wonder who'll be at Crew Bar. Hey, tomorrow we're off in Antigua. And I would be thinking about a million other things whilst doing the routine.
Really?
So my body just knew how to do it.
Oh, I think I'd be absolutely opposite. I can't even go to a boxing class and get the right sequence right.
But what I will say is you have moments, you've been doing it 9 months, and you are actually thinking about it, and you're like, I don't know what comes next. And nothing puts fear in you like that. Like if you're singing a song and you've sang a verse and there's just a bit of music ready for you to sing the chorus, and you're like, I don't know the words. I've been singing this for 9 months. I've gone through that. Yeah, it's scary. That's probably the scariest thing that ever happened to you as a performer. Yeah.
Oh my god, no, I just couldn't. Okay, and to round it off, the last question: what would you say for anyone thinking about growing their business to Dubai, taking that leap of faith? What bit of advice would you give them?
Manage your expectations. Get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, and manage your cash flow.
Cash flow's key. Key 100%. And king.
And get out there, network. Just because someone's not from your industry doesn't mean that they're not in a position to introduce you to somebody that might be. And I've actually made really, really nice relationships with people that I would consider friends.
And you know, the thing is, with your industry and within Dubai, everyone is kind of open to make it the bigger, the best. We've got the tallest, we've got the biggest, we've got the wildest, fastest. We always need to be better at something. For an industry like yours, I think, especially probably after this podcast and other entrepreneurs listening, their brains will start ticking and be like, how can we integrate Amy's to come and do like a major Christmas event, summer event, because I know that's how people think in Dubai.
The one in Cairo is for a company called Mountain View, who develop properties, and they do a show for anyone that buys their houses.
Really?
That's what that job is.
So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, because I think everyone in Dubai is about creating an experience, and that's why they're always aiming to be something.
Yeah.
And I think your idea within Dubai will flourish.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to see pop-up global absolutely everywhere, because I can just imagine the creativity now within most businesses, small, medium or large. They know that everyone in Dubai needs something. They're never just going to not remember.
And I think on your point about Dubai is the biggest, the best, whatever. With entertainment, and you see this all the time, let's do a Beatles show but in our own language, and they're all dressed as zebras because it's never before seen. People don't want that. They're drinking a wine, they're sat with the kids, they want to watch a Michael Jackson show. They want something that's relatable, and I think people are trying to reinvent the wheel with entertainment when actually it doesn't land.
Not at all. But then, do you not think, and going back to it quickly, like in Dubai, everywhere you go smells gorgeous.
Yeah.
Because everyone just wants you to think about the smell.
Yeah.
But now everywhere smells gorgeous.
Yeah.
You don't even sometimes click it. It becomes second nature. You go, oh, that smells of that. Keep walking. And I think that's where Pop-Up Global is really going to take the market by storm, is if people have already got the scent, people have already got the image, what can we do now to add into it? And I can see you guys just popping up everywhere like Pop-Up Global.
Yeah, I hope so.
But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
it was
you.
great to get your story. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah.